So what are the worst mistakes to make in Pokemon investing? In today's video, I'm going to be going over some of the worst mistakes I've personally made and some of the most common mistakes that a lot of new people make in this space. So first and foremost is not following conviction for high confidence items. Now this is not so much a mistake as it is kind of a regret that a lot of people have, is when they see an item that they know is going to perform very well, such as in the Sword and Shield era, you have Evolving Skies, Lost Origin, Fusion Strike, right? People knew that these were some of the best sets of the era, that these will do very well in the future, but they maybe only either bought a little bit or not anything at all. In the Scarlet and Violet era, these are sets like 151 and Paldean Fates. For the longest time, you could pick these up for pretty cheap, and even when they kind of rose up in price, you could still pick these up for $60 a booster bundle. That's when I told you guys, do not wait on picking these up at $60 because eventually you will regret not picking up more. And even me, right? I picked up a lot of these booster bundles, but not enough in my opinion, right? I still think I should have picked up more because I had so many opportunities to pick these up for sub $60, and I got some, but I didn't get enough. And that is kind of where this conviction lies, right? If you have a high conviction in a set, right, in sets as good as these that I've shown here, then you're gonna want to pick up as much as you possibly can because you know that these are going to be the winners. And if you know you're getting them for a good price, right? For Evolving Skies, for example, I had tons and tons of chances to buy these under $1,000, never pulled the trigger, and now, you know, it's kind of out of reach. And then you have something like Lost Origin. This, luckily, I was able to pull the trigger when these were in that 150, 140 range, but I should have bought more, right? I only bought 2 cases. I should have bought more. Same thing with Fusion Strike. I never got a booster box of this, right? It was sitting in the $200, $300 range for a very long time. Never bought it, and now it is close to $1,000. So these are all lessons that I've learned from past eras, and I'm not making the same mistake with this current era that we're in, right? I think Destined Rivals and Prismatic are obviously going to be 2 of the most desirable sets, 2 of the highest return on investment sets that you can make right now. And I'm not going to miss out on these, right? Destined Rivals, I've been stocking up, and I'll continue to stock up as this gets either reprinted, restocked over the course of the next 2 years. And then same thing with Prismatic, right? I'm going to pick up as much Prismatic as I possibly can. These are definitely the 2 sets that you do not want to miss out on, and these are the 2 high conviction sets, high confidence sets that you don't want to miss out on. The next mistake is buying too many ancillary products. Now, what do I mean by ancillary products? These are your binder collections, your check lane blisters, your 3-pack blisters, your random collection boxes that don't even have good promos, your knockout collections, right? Some tins can fall in this category. Just various miscellaneous items that either take up space or maybe only contain a couple of packs. You know, these items are not as desirable as things like booster boxes, PC ETBs, right? ETBs, booster box cases. These items I have right here are the most desirable items, and these will most likely net you the best return on investment, and they're going to be easier to sell, and they're going to be easier to store as well, right? You're getting the max amount of packs for these items confined in the smallest amount of space. Now, there are some cases where it could be a better buy to buy maybe a 3-pack blister that has a good promo, right? Maybe you have a collection box that has really good promos and really good packs. There are definitely those one-off cases. If you find really good deals on some ancillary products, like if it's a deal that's just too good to turn down, then yeah, maybe pick up some of it, but don't, you know, only buy these ancillary products. You can definitely have some. Like I probably have around 20% of my collection in these various ancillary products, which I'm trying to cut down, right? If I can, I would try to, you know, break those down and maybe sell them or trade them into booster boxes, PC ETBs, and regular ETBs. But in general, you definitely want to have a majority of your portfolio in booster boxes, PCTBs, ETBs, and cases of all of these. The next problem a lot of newer investors make is that they FOMO buy into large quantities of brand new sets that have just released at these very elevated prices. Now, the most recent examples of these are going to be Mega Evolution and Phantasmal Flames. Mega Evolution, it just released, and you're starting to see the prices start to come down now. It's actually getting to a pretty good buying opportunity in my opinion, but you're seeing booster boxes, the enhanced version, go down now to about the 250, 260 range, which is really good, right? What you basically saw with this booster box is out the gate, obviously, right, very early pre-orders, it was way over $300. You definitely don't want to buy these boxes when they immediately go to pre-order. And then the pre-order price will eventually drop down, right? Maybe in the case of Mega Evolution, it dropped back down to $230, $240. That was a pretty good buying opportunity in my opinion, right? I was waiting to see maybe if it would hit that 200, right? 210, 220 range. Never really hit that low. But then we saw kind of peak FOMO, right? About the time that Mega Evolution released, we saw the booster box go all the way up to about $318, $320. And this is when some people started to chase the booster box because they saw, right, the cards in the set were skyrocketing in value, right? There's a lot of hype around this set. But now we're starting to see a decrease in the price. We're starting to see Mega Evolution start to cool down, and it's looking like it's going to head back down to maybe the 250, right, 240 range, hopefully. And that's going to be when I'm going to consider picking up some Mega Evolution. You never, ever want to FOMO into these new sets at these very high prices, right? Even the card prices are going to come down, guys. This total set value was, close to $5,000 when it first released, and it's kind of dropped back down. And this will most likely continue dropping down for the next couple of months as more and more of these cards come out. So with Mega Evolution, I think you're going to see your chance to buy this booster box in the next, 2 or 3 months. And the cards in the set, right, they're going down in value, but I still think they're going to hold some pretty good value. These gold cards have gone down from, I think, 600 to 700 to now 500. And then we're seeing the Mega Lucario and the Mega Gardevoir come down in price as well. The Mega Lucario actually is more expensive than the Mega Gardevoir now, which is kind of interesting. So that's definitely something to keep your eye out. It definitely seems like the Lucario and the Gardevoir are very, very popular cards. So I wouldn't be surprised if both of these stay right over $150. But I can definitely see the rest of some of these cards come down in price quite a bit, right? I can definitely see this Mega Venusaur maybe even going under $100 eventually. Mega Latias, I can definitely see going under 100. I think Lily's Determination, Absol, right? Kangaskhan, I think all these will go under $100. And then some of these illustration rares like the Marshadow's already gone down quite a bit. You have the Ivysaur that's gone down quite a bit. A lot of these cards are going to go down, and that's what you're going to see with these newer sets. For Phantasmal Flames, the set hasn't even come out yet, but the booster box is already sky high, right? Pre-order is up for about $317, and you can see that the price is steadily decreasing, and it's probably going to decrease, in my opinion, probably down to the high 200s. And then at release, I'm going to assume we're going to see a little bit of hype for this set. It might kind of spike up a little bit, and then it's going to continue going down. Hopefully this set goes back down into the 250s. I can definitely see it going down to 250 or even lower. So be patient with Phantasmal Flames. This set does not have an SIR Gengar, so I don't think it's as good of a set as some of the people are making it out to be, right? It's definitely going to be a good set, but I don't think it's going to be, the greatest set of all time or anything. I think it's going to be similar to Mega Evolution. So definitely be patient, right? Especially with all these new sets coming out, right? We're getting so many new products, so many new sets. It's good to be patient and kind of pick and choose, right, when you're going to enter the markets. The market right now is in a very interesting place. We're seeing a lot of stagnation, right? We're seeing a lot of products kind of either hit a wall or slowly decrease, right? We're seeing that all across the board with Sword and Shield, even Sun and Moon, right? Obviously Scarlet and Violet. Right now, it's definitely a good time to stay patient and definitely don't FOMO into sky high prices. And the last mistake that a lot of people make, especially newer investors, and I've made this as well, is ripping your own supply of products. Now, whenever you set aside, right, a certain amount of product for investing purposes, you need to hold yourself accountable, and you need to tell yourself, okay, I'm holding this aside as an investment, right? I'm holding this aside because I think it's going to increase in value in the future as a sealed product, right? So therefore, I'm not going to touch this product. I'm not going to open it, right? I'm not going to get the temptation to gamble and open these packs because I'm going to set it aside for the price to increase as a sealed investment. But a lot of times human psychology takes over, and we as humans, we like gambling, right? We love to gamble. We love to rip packs, right? That's the whole point of Pokemon, is to rip packs. So that desire, that temptation definitely takes over sometimes, and I've fallen victim to it, right? I've ripped some products recently. I've ripped some Crown Zenith, right? I've ripped some Scarlet and Violet sets. Not too many, right? Just, a pack here or there, maybe, a booster bundle here or there. But I'm not going to lie to you guys, this is probably the worst out of all these mistakes. This is basically like going to the casino, right? You could hit it big or you could absolutely lose all of the value on that set, on that particular product. Let's say you open a Prismatic Evolutions ETB, right? So let's say you open a $120 Prismatic Evolutions ETB and you pulled, let's say, $30 worth of cards, which I would say is a pretty decent return on Prismatic Evolutions, right? Let's say you even get $100 worth of cards back. You basically broke even, and now, you know, you don't have an ETB anymore. But in the future, that ETB is not going to be worth $120. It's going to be worth, you know, $200, $300, $400, $500. Most of the time, the sealed product is going to go up faster than the raw cards that you pull. So even if you pull some really good chase cards, right, at the end of the day, the sealed product still might go up faster. And that's if you pull the chase cards. If you don't pull the chase cards, then that product that you opened is a complete waste. Let's say that Prismatic ETB that you opened, you pulled $0 worth of anything, right? So you pulled $0, you lost $120. You didn't just lose $120, you lost whatever the ETB is going to be worth in the future. So you potentially lost $500, $1,000, right? Eventually the ETB is probably going to be worth 500 to maybe even 1,000 in the far future. You lost that money instead of just the 120. So just be mindful of that. Definitely, you need to watch your temptations and remember to not rip your own supply of products. That's gonna be it for the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what other videos you want to see, and I'll see you guys in the next one.